Jackie Capstick, and this is the Natural Healing Wheel. Today, I'd like to welcome my guest, Sharon Crossett. How are you, Sharon?
I'm very well, thank you, Jackie. It's lovely to be talking to you.
Yes, and you are far away. You're out in Wales.
That's right. Yep. A long way away from you, over in the UK in Wales.
And it's spectacular and beautiful.
It is very, very pretty. It's a lovely, lovely country.
Yeah, I would like to go there. I haven't been. I went to Europe for my first time a couple of years ago, and it was just, I can't wait to get back over there and explore.
It's well worth a visit.
Yeah. So today we're going to be sharing your journey that you have come from an owner and a businesswoman in the healing and essential oils and this whole idea of just releasing toxins and the mind, body, spirit being aligned. Mm-hmm. But you were probably a little bit ahead of your time with because that was like 24 years. You were saying you owned these businesses with your sister. Yeah. Tell us about that. And so that all kind of intervenes into this next journey.
Yeah. Right? So I started off originally 1993, and I was working for a company called Culpepper, which was a herbalist. And I was a regional manager, and it dealt with aromatherapy oils, medicinal herbs, and it was a very much holistic approach to looking after yourself, eating good food, using the oils, using herbs, very, very much all natural products, and way, way, way ahead of its time, because had it been now, it would have just been amazing. And from there, I left and I set up my own businesses. And so I've had lots of experience of working in business and being an entrepreneur and doing everything for yourself. But of course, with all of the great stuff comes all of the stress and all of the worry and the anxiety, which obviously comes into us. And when I finished my business in 2015, when my sister emigrated to Australia, I decided to look back onto my career and the things that I had loved most, which was the holistic work that I did with Culpepper and the interaction that I had with my customers in all of the shops that I had, and really sort of combined them and came up with the holistic coaching business, which is what I do today and what I've been doing for the last few years. So I deal with basically with everything, with your mind, your body, your emotions, and coaching to encapsulate everything.
So I was kind of jumped in on you. Sorry about that. You were saying about when you're in a shop and you're with all the different people and customers, and all of that energy you kind of accumulate in your body, right?
Absolutely. It's so amazing how you pick up on other people's energies, whether that's good or bad, to be honest. And when you're in a shop, yes, absolutely. You pick up on and you feed off people, and it's a great environment to be in, and it's a very high energy environment to be in. But yes, you can pick up on the negative as well as the positive energies from people.
Yeah. I was a hairstylist for most of my life. And so at the end of the day, it was like, what do I do with all of this? And so I think that just kind of leading into the healing with the oils and that kind of being ahead of its time, because I remember not knowing how to, because now I'm at home after a 10-hour work day and I've got children and a husband and I'm full of everybody's stuff because I care, like you're an empath, let's say, right?
Yeah.
And so I was absorbing and not understanding how important it was to release, right? And that's really what you're talking about.
Absolutely. I found that in a retail environment, especially, that say you'd have people when you're in an environment as my business is where you have a lot of one-on-one interaction with customers, you get to know your customers, and that's lovely. but they also feel that they can come in and talk about their problems or the issues that they have going on in their lives. And you care about these people because you've known them for a long time, and you want them to be well. So you do take in all of their issues and their worries and their stresses and their anxieties. And then of course you go home and you've got all of that as well as your own. So for me, it was finding that way to release all of that.
And so that led into your coaching. And how did you start coaching? Like what? So you're this is what you're passionate about. And so was that how did you get into it? Like how did you start that?
Well, I had a background in psychology. I'd done that for the first year of my degree, and I'd always been fascinated with how the mind works and what goes on in the mind. And I'd read a lot of books on the law of attraction and manifestation and positive thinking. And I was very, very interested in how your mind creates the environment that you want. And I suddenly thought, well, I didn't want to do therapy because I didn't want to go back into people's problems. I'm a very optimistic, forward thinking person. And I thought, well, hang on, coaching is the ideal thing because it's taking people from where they are now and it's changing the way they think and putting them into the future, hopefully a far, far better version of themselves, of where they want to be. And so I just thought, well, that's what I want to do. And it was a kind of a light bulb moment. And I thought, well, I've got the training, but I did more training. I did a holistic counselling course and I did my life coaching diploma. And I've done courses in neuro-linguistic programming and cognitive behavioral therapy and or mindfulness. I did a meditation course. I'm a meditation practitioner now. And the more I studied, the more I thought, yeah, this is just what I want to do. Just love it because it's just helping people to get to where they want to be in their lives.
I'm with you. It's so addictive.
It really is.
I
It
just,
really is.
yeah, like there's nothing better to learn.
No, absolutely
It-
not.
yeah.
And when you get that breakthrough with somebody and they have their light bulb moment of, oh, gosh, yeah, this is what I want to do, or that's where I want to be, or they get over some anxiety or whatever it is, there's no better feeling. There really is no better feeling.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And that's addictive. And then just our own, once we get into that quiet space, what starts to happen when we can shut that brain down just for that little bit, it's
Yeah.
pretty powerful, isn't it?
It is, because when you start studying this, you realize so many times how the brain works against you and how powerful your brain is. And so getting control of your brain, it's kind of like getting control of a runaway car. Once you've got control of it, you can do anything, but it's just getting those tools to get control of it. Once you've got control of your brain, stress starts to go out of your body, the anxiety starts to go out of your body, you'll eat better, you'll exercise better, you'll start living your whole life in a far, far more productive and healthy way, I feel, anyway.
Oh, I think that's 100% the truth. I know I'm
Mm,
still working through that whole process, and it's tough. It's a lot of work, and it's generational patterns of,
yes,
and when somebody's doing it to you, right? We cry victim, and we get like, and when it's really intense energies right now,
yeah,
like everything for everybody seems to be over the top. Like it's like not one or two things that are happening. It's like five or six things that are major events in people's lives. And
yeah, yeah.
it's
A lot has happened. A lot has happened over the last few years, hasn't it? And people have either gone one way or the other, I feel, and hopefully more people are going to be coming to our way of thinking of living the holistic lifestyle. I do hope so.
well, I think that that's the only thing that you can do, because
Mm,
it's too intense. Like if you don't know how to help yourself, then we're in trouble. And there's been so many like suicides and just the depression and the kids, and like it's rampant. And
yeah,
yeah, it gets talked about, but it's not really being dealt with on any level at all.
No.
And you're right, like this, so this work that I've been doing, and just catching yourself in it, because that story, as soon as you start to down that rabbit hole, you go again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just can't tell the story, and you have to just look forward, like you said, and it's work, but you get there eventually. That's what you're saying, and then all of a sudden, that's what they say. Everything then just, and you don't have to be so diligent anymore.
No, no. I think with me, it just sort of clicked. Well, hang on a minute. I'm actually the one in control of what I'm thinking. It's not these external factors. It's not the news. It's not what other people are telling me. It's not family. It's not friends. I'm in control of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And so if I can change my thoughts to what I want them to be, and to be productive thoughts, then I'm the one who's back in the driving seat.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that intuitively we know, right? Like for myself, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You just know, there's just, either you know or you don't, right? But
Yes. Yeah.
that intuitiveness, I was really knowing things and being told that that wasn't happening. So I was really in a situation where I was doing some trauma, like lots of trauma and healing from that, but in an environment where I couldn't heal, and
Yeah.
working through those challenges. And Polly, that's what you call shadow work and generational work.
Yes.
And
Yes.
clean it up and end in a cycle work.
Yeah.
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 And so I'm really happy to hear that I'm going to be popping out on that, popping out of that box, not getting triggered anymore eventually, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think we all have this, like everybody's knows what that is, right? We just, somebody gets you, and then you're back in your, and we don't even know
Yeah.
we're doing it half the
Yeah.
time. We're
No.
miserable.
And
Miserable
sometimes
while
I
we
think
do
it's,
it.
yeah, and sometimes I think it's just habit, isn't it, really? We get into these habitual way of thinking, and sometimes it's lazy thinking, because we're not even really thinking about what we're thinking. It's just automatic thoughts that go through our brain, and then we kind of sort of click into one and think, oh yeah, that's how I'm feeling today. And it is, we just, most of the time, I think, go around on almost an automatic pilot of thinking. But it's the mindset that we're into, and it's just changing your mindset so it becomes more positive, and we start thinking in a way, I say, that serves us and is productive towards us. So that's what I try and bring out in my coaching.
Yeah, and you know what? From what I understand, and I've had many of my friends say, "Okay, so you're telling me you just think, I'm da 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 da, and then you're gonna have," and I'm like, apparently, right? Like if you're spending time and thinking that you have this great life and that what you want, you are bathing in that light instead of bathing in the fact that, here I am again, right?
Yeah.
Blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. The universe just gives us more of what we're broadcasting, right?
Absolutely. And if you think, I mean, I've talked about this with quite a few people. From an early age, we're all brought up to think we're going to go through school, and we're going to get exams, and then we'll leave school, university, whatever it might be, and we'll get a job, and then we'll buy a house, and we'll get married, and we'll have children, and our lives are preordained for us. And really, we can do that ourselves, and bring the lives that we want, because we believe, you see, what people tell us, that we have to go through education, then we have to get a job, and then we get married, and then we get a house, and we believe that because that's what we're told. So if we tell ourselves things that we believe, good things that are going to be life affirming things and positive things for us, then we do it anyway. It's once we believe it that we then just automatically do it. So that's really how it works, having these thoughts that you believe and think, yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Right. And if you want that, then why would you not want to fake it until you do create it or
Exactly.
allow it in, right? They say if you can think it, then it's already here in the universe for us. We just
Exactly.
need to accept and allow that it's already here and allow it in. But
Yeah.
we have to change the behaviors we can't
to bring it in.
we can't behave like we're behaving and saying, well, it's not here yet, and I don't have this, da, 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 noticing that it's not there. And then, yeah, it's just simple and it's so complex, is it not? Like
It is, because again, it's just getting our mind to believe that the things that we want we can have, and it's getting our mind to change. It's changing those neural pathways that we've all got set over many, many years, but they can change. And once they do change, it's amazing what you can do for yourself. It really is.
The other thing that I heard, and you were talking about this earlier, was when you're learning, like you've been learning all of these and done all of these courses, and you're just really enjoying the learning. And sometimes it's really challenging and really tough, and you're having to push through fear and uncomfortableness. But apparently that's when our brain grows and like it gets healthy, and it creates all this new, brand new pathways. And have you heard that?
Yeah.
I think I heard Greg Braden talking about that, and I thought, I didn't hear the whole thing on it, but I was like, oh, I like that.
Well, absolutely, because our brains are there to serve us, but so many times they really don't serve us very well. So when we put a new challenge into our brain, it says, no, I'm kind of happy with the way things were because I've learned that, and I'm okay. We'll just keep doing it the same way. So that's why learning is so difficult, because we're actually having to force our brains to do something that they don't really want to do because they're so used to doing it in the old way. But once they do start to take on board these new ideas that we've got and this new way of learning, then it's like, yeah, actually, I'm all out for this now. And I suppose it's kind of like when you start maybe an exercise program and your body doesn't want to do it, first of all, because it's like, no, my muscles can't work and I can't bend that way, and I'm tired and I'd rather sit and watch something on Netflix. But then once your body starts getting into shape, and it starts to think, hey, you know what, I really like this. I've got, all the feel good chemicals going on in my body now, and it wants to do more of it. And the brain really works in the same way. So learning then does become easier because your brain is accepting of the fact that it's having to take in more stuff, and it's starting to learn, and it's enjoying learning. And then you can do more of it.
And I remember growing up thinking that we only had so many brain cells.
Yes.
Right. And now, like, that's so far from the truth, that, right? Like, it's like, as soon as we're thinking and we're pushing and expanding, it's just exploding with
we're creating more.
Yeah. So that's exciting, right? So it's worth making yourself a little uncomfortable to learn and put ourselves out there, and not worry about what we think they're thinking about us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're never uncomfortable in life, and that means within yourself, if you never feel a slight bit of anxiety when starting something new, or you never feel that feeling of butterflies in your stomach, or that feeling of, oh, I'm really not comfortable doing this, then you're not pushing yourself and you're never going to achieve anything. You've got to get through that. And then, of course, once you do get through it, you push through that uncomfortable feeling and that anxiety, and you get to the other side and you achieve what you set out to do. You just think, hey, fantastic, I did it, and then you'll push yourself to do more and more and more.
Yeah, that's addictive, right? That rush right there that you get, it's such a much better adrenaline high than what we're getting from the fight or flight that we're getting off all the time with the stress and fear.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, to say, it pushes you to want to do more, and because you suddenly think, well, I can do more. There's so much more to me that I can do, that I want to do, and that's when you start to have the most amazing life, really.
Yeah, I think that that sounds so much better than so many people that are just competing with everybody, their friends and their right, because it's not, they have they're not doing it for what you're talking about is yourself and your passion and your like within, right? And
absolutely.
There's so many people that are just, and myself included, right? You just get into this, I'm going to get this, and then we don't even enjoy that, and then we're off to this, and it's the societal box. right?
Absolutely. I suppose, and we've all done it at times. We start competing to have this life that if you actually stopped and thought, do I really want that? You'd think, no, I don't even think I do really, to be honest. So I suppose that really what you have to do is you have to be honest with yourself and say, well, what do I want? Where do I want to be going in life? What do I want to achieve? It's that, and again, that's where the coaching comes in, and of course people can do it themselves. It's just asking questions, setting goals, but doing it for something that you want to do, not what society tells you you should do, because that's how we've always been brought up. Society's always told us what we have to do without us ever really thinking, no, hang on, what do I actually want to do?
And you, when you've got a coach, right, they help keep you there because it's the momentum. And
Yes.
we get up and we do, and then we fall off. But
Yeah.
you have a coach and they, we are going good, and then all of a sudden we're in a story. And
Yes.
to have somebody that has, your full compassion and well-being to lift you up.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. Like, I remember when the coaching all first came out, and I thought to myself, well, that's kind of, I don't know that I would do that. It kind of sounded very like lawyer type stuff, right? Like that.
Yeah.
You have to have a big position to have that happen.
Yeah.
But the value for everybody to have that kind of support it's invaluable.
Yeah, it really is, because coaches need coaches as well. Everybody
I think
needs them.
everybody does, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's having, first of all, somebody that you're answerable to. So you set this goal, and then instead of it just being you, and then you're not completing it, and you're thinking, well, never mind. If you've got a coach, they say, well, hang on a minute, weren't we doing this goal? So then you've got somebody to answer to there, and you've got somebody who says, come on, you can do this, let's push, let's do this, let's get through this difficult stage, let's get to the next bit. And that's what coaching gives you. It gives you somebody to fall back against and say, I'm finding this hard, and they can pick you up and say, look, let's carry on going forward, give you different ideas, give you tools. It's a great way of achieving what you want to achieve. It really is.
It's a great way to find happiness. If you're feeling like you can't find it within, if you're still looking for anything or everything, that the man and the house and everything, like, come in alone, leave alone. Really, right?
Yeah.
And, like, here we are wasting all this time trying to accumulate, whereas we're just supposed to be abundant. It's just energy. So we're just supposed to know that it's not that, it's just like love and health and joy, and it's just an energy. We just put a dollar, we just put a piece of, but if we just like you're saying, when you were reprogramming these thoughts, right, to just have a look and see what our thought is, and make sure that we have a good clean one that's running in that
80, one that serves us.
80,000 thoughts a day that goes on in the subconscious mind every day. Like, come on, right?
I know, and how many of those thoughts are productive?
Dr. Joe Dispenza says, and it's usually the same ones you had yesterday.
Yes, and you'll have them tomorrow, and you'll have them next week, and there are some.
We're running on program, right?
yeah, exactly. And I think most of us do, don't we? Really. And that's why with the holistic coaching that I do a lot of mindfulness, and it's getting people to just cut off all the noise for a moment and really start focusing on just this present moment in time. And that's when you realize all these thoughts that are going around your head, and they're not serving you and they're not helping you. They shouldn't even really be there at that moment in time. But we all do it.
And it's exactly what you're saying right there. That's what I found. It was just that just getting that moment and just sitting there and giving yourself that. But we don't even take the time to do it.
No, we don't.
Well, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to do this first. Then now I don't have time, and off we go. And it like can make or break your day. Just that drop into your heart, or it's asked to have a great day, or set your, like, it's so powerful, this stuff.
Yeah,
How do you How would you share it for people to be finding coaches out there? Like, what would somebody, if they're thinking, you know what, I'm going to try this because I'm stuck, right? I'm going to give this a go and see if I can get over this hurdle and get myself not just, usually most of us as well have like one area that's good. This area is
Yeah.
weak. That one's kind of good, but this area is really weak too. But when you have a coach, there's a balance because somebody's seeing you from the outside and they're seeing for your highest good, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really powerful.
And I think sometimes people can think, oh, this area of my life, this is where I need all the work doing. And then when you talk to a coach, and we could do various things, there's loads and loads of tools that you can use, but a great one to do is always something like the wheel of life. So you can choose which area of your life, and sometimes you can think, well, hang on a minute, I'm being quite hard on myself there because that area is actually quite good. And I think working with a coach that is going to introduce you to a lot of tools and new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking, can actually make you think in a completely different way. And you can think, well, I am being really hard on myself there actually, because maybe career-wise I'm doing really well, and maybe it's just actually this area that needs taking care of. So I think looking for a coach and working for a coach, you've got to find somebody who is on the same wavelength as you and is going to, you've got to have great rapport obviously with somebody, but you need to find somebody who's very empathetic and who's going to work with you and who's going to bring out the best in you and isn't just there for themselves, but they're there for you. It's somebody who wants you to succeed, and they want to find what's going to be the best thing for you. So I think that's one of the best ways to start approaching for a coach.
Not somebody who's above you or
No.
knows more than you, or it's not,
Yeah.
yeah, not that. If that
No.
energy comes out, then you need to look elsewhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be somebody that you think, you know what, this person's on my side. Absolutely. They're there for me. It's not about anything else other than them. That's what a coach should all be about.
And you know, some of us wouldn't even want to ask for that because we're
No.
mostly about giving, right? Instead of
Yeah,
receiving. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I think it's important just to, you know, for us to be aware of that, you know, set our intention around getting the right coach. And how do people, how would people want to get in touch with you and get some coaching from you? Is that,
Yes, so I have my own website, and that's where I get most of my business from. I have had referrals from different people as well.
what's your website again? Well, I'll put it with the video, but let's.
Oh, it's www.lifecoachingforwomen.co.uk. And that's where most of it comes from. But I have a blog on my website, and obviously with the technology that we have nowadays, people can access a blog page and then that brings them back to my website. And my blogs are all about everything we've discussed here really, and so many other subjects as well.
Well, and we were talking just before the show that you're really, one of your main focuses is menopause and women going through that and the different options. Do you want to touch on that? Because it's a pretty hot topic where you are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I was saying to you before, in the UK at the moment, menopause is huge. There's been much debate about it and talking about it, but it's all been coming from, and I'm not saying this as a bad thing, but it's been coming from the hormone replacement therapy side of things. So it's about going to see your doctor and getting them to do something for you and getting them to give you HRT, so that will help you, and that's fine, and that's going to work for a lot of ladies, and that's fine, and no problem with that at all. But I do a menopause coaching course, which basically looks again at the holistic side of things. So it explains all about the hormones and what happens when you start to lose hormones in your body, and why you suddenly start to get brain fog or lack of concentration, or your memory goes, or why you start to get night sweats or aching limbs, or all the other many side effects that we seem to suffer from with menopause. And then I talk about how food can help, and how exercise can help, and how your lifestyle can help. So it works from this whole holistic principle that you can help yourself. You can get yourself through this as well. And it's very empowering because you're not relying on somebody else then. And you get to understand your body as well, because so many ladies have come to me in their maybe early 40s and said, oh, I don't know what's wrong with me, because I suddenly can't remember this, or I feel very overwhelmed. And when we start talking through things, it's like, well, you'll be perimenopausal. And having the knowledge to then switch their diet, start eating more greens, maybe start doing different things, different exercises, whatever it might be, empowers them then over the next few years, so that when they get to the point of menopause, they're so well armed with so much information that they can really, really help themselves and get through it a lot easier.
And I think that's key right there, right? That knowledge.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
I really don't even know what I should know about the hormones and menopause. I just know that I've been,
Because we're never taught about it, are we? That's the thing, you see.
no, like we know that it's called menopause and we know that this kind of happens, but
Yeah.
educating ourselves, it's, yeah.
Yeah. And it's so important to have the knowledge, because when you notice a symptom, you think, right, well, I know what that is now. I'm not suffering from some sort of early dementia or something. That's actually a menopausal symptom, and I can look at ways to deal with this. And it's just to say, it's very empowering, and you realize that living in a holistic way, with the food that you put into your body, cutting down on caffeine or alcohol, or not having too much sugar, or cutting out processed food, introducing greens and different vitamins, what you put into your body is really going to affect how your body acts and what you get out of your body then. And that's all the idea of holistic coaching. It's basically taking everything and looking at it as a whole, and how it's going to serve you. And it's so important during menopause and perimenopause.
Yeah. And always, I think too, right? Like, I think if we're kind of get into that we know our body and we know when it's doing something that it wants our attention, and
Yeah.
trying to learn and understand that. I've always been really good at that. I just know that I don't have a lot of understanding about the whole hormones and what's happening. I haven't spent the time to do that, and I should, and I will.
Yeah.
You're going through something and I don't even really know, there's a hot flashes, and I know the brain fog, I have it all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember cutting people's hair, and then all of a sudden they were almost like a different person. They, going through, and then like I just would feel like, I was younger and didn't really understand myself.
Yeah.
That's what was happening.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of women, it can be really frightening, to be honest, when you suddenly find yourself changing so much that maybe you can't remember things, or you start to get quite angry about things, or quite weepy about things, or you start to think of things differently, and then you start to question yourself, and well, what's happening to me? Why am I suddenly this different person? And of course it affects relationships with families and friends and work colleagues, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's because we don't have this knowledge of what's actually happening to us, and so people do get quite scared about what's happening to them. And that's why being armed with information about menopause is so important, because you can think, yes, you know what, you can become proactive, you can take control of it, and you can think, right, well, I'm not going to let it control me. I'm going to take control of this, and I'm going to get myself through this in a way that's best for me.
Yeah. And like we were talking about earlier, our thoughts, right? We become what we think about. So if we're sitting in fear and we don't know, and then we're feeling insecure, and like we don't know what's happening to us, knowledge is, and then having support, having a coach, having the right coach, right? Having somebody that you feel loved by, right? Because
Yeah,
really they're holding a space of love, and then,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And somebody who that you feel you can say, I feel I can trust you, where maybe I can't even trust family members because I don't feel quite as comfortable talking about this. It's having somebody that you feel comfortable talking about, and you can chat about these things, and you can think, well, you know what, actually, I've got somebody here who is going to help me and who's going to get me through this as well. And it's so, so important, so important.
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Yeah. Yes, it really, really is. I can attest to that.
Yes.
Well, I just, do you have anything that's else that you really want to share, all the way from Wales? I'm in Vancouver, Canada, so we're a little ways apart. So
We are, and but only geographically, I think that's the thing,
yes,
isn't
that's
it?
right.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
We're totally
Um,
connected here.
yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that I am most passionate about, and probably talk about so much, it's just about being kind to yourself and looking after yourself. And this is where I do feel that coaching is so important, that women, so many times there's so many external pressures from children and husbands, or wives, or elderly parents, or work colleagues, friends, that we feel pulled in so many different directions. And the one thing I hear over and over again is, I don't have time. I don't have time to look after myself, or I don't have time for this, or I don't have time for that. And I suffered from that myself. I'd say that was one of my worst traits, was just not making time for myself. And one thing we all have to do is make time for ourselves, because if you keep taking from yourself, soon there's going to be nothing left to give to anybody else. So it's just making sure that you love yourself and look after yourself, and really take care of yourself and take time for yourself. So you've got then things to give to other people anyway. So I'd say that's, I feel, one of the most important things for women is to really look after yourself.
And it happens first thing, right? We need to start first thing in the day, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
and it just means just stopping before rushing, and right, just like just going within, just like some people go, oh, I'm going to go for a massage, but then the massage is over and they're still feeling in the same kind
Yeah,
of experience all the time, right? So
yeah,
this is you're stopping, you're learning, doing some breathing, some of the tools that you share. They're so
yeah.
simple and they're so powerful, and there's many. So you don't like this, or you don't want to meditate, there's all, it's so
Oh,
good, right?
yeah, there are. And it's that, I suppose, delegating to people, and living in that moment and thinking, do you know what? If that doesn't get done, is my world going to implode? Probably not. So I'm not going to be as hard on myself, and I'm not going to push myself as much, because at the end of the day, everything is still going to carry on as normal. It's those pressures that we put on ourselves, that we feel we have to be perfect in every single area of our lives, and we really don't have to be. We just have to be accepting of ourselves, and not be as hard on ourselves, and think, you know what, sometimes I can delegate, and my world won't fall apart. It's learning to just love the person that we are, I think, and
And not
not
try to
try and be
people
something
please.
else. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. People pleasing, bad, very bad.
Yeah, because we're trying to be enough again.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we are enough, aren't we? Let's face it.
We're already enough. We just think that we're not, because
Yeah,
we perceived that we weren't enough, and then we got to reprogram this stuff and put in some different stuff.
yeah.
It
And we're
takes
back
time,
to that mind again.
and we all have to do it. Nobody gets off on this. So
No,
there's
no. Yeah,
that.
absolutely, absolutely.
Right?
And it does, it just brings us all back to the mind again. And it's all in our mind, that we have to have this perfect life and everything has to be perfect. But no, we are enough. Just take care of ourselves, because we are enough.
Yeah, and what we think, we broadcast. So if you're worried
Yes.
about what people are thinking about you, know that, and go
Yeah.
spend 5 minutes in the mirror and tell yourself that I am,
Yeah.
I am, whatever it is that is feeling really weak and just it feels uncomfortable. But that's what I learned to do, because my self-esteem is just so beaten down, you know. And it's a powerful technique. It's a very uncomfortable one, that mirror, looking yourself in the mirror and talking like that. But it really
but it works, doesn't it?
really
It
works.
really works.
Yeah. So
it does. It's
if
very,
you're feeling uncomfortable in your skin, go do it.
yeah, absolutely. When you
Right?
really want to push yourself through that fear barrier, that's a great way to start.
Yeah.
But it does work, because really we can be so loving to everybody else and be so hard and unloving on ourselves, and we really need to start with ourselves.
You know, Sharon, I was surprised when I first started to look and listen, and it's been a few years, and I was very depressed and shocked when I started to hear what that subconscious was playing. And it's not even half the time ours. It's something that we heard or perceived.
Yeah.
Or it's
Or
just
we,
really
yeah,
so important. Yeah, and yeah, it really makes a big difference, because we don't even know that we're beating ourselves up and shaming ourselves and guilting
no,
ourselves and and it's just and we're all doing that, it seems.
yeah.
I mean, there's
And
people that climbed out.
often we're thinking things that aren't even true. We're thinking things that we think somebody else might be thinking when we don't know.
Yeah,
And we're letting all of this affect us, and
yeah,
we're so hard on ourselves. And sometimes I have said this to people when I've been coaching: what are some of the things that you say to yourself? And they'll say, and I said, would you say that to somebody else? And they say, gosh, no, absolutely not, I'd be horrified. Why are you saying it to yourself? So we need to be a lot kinder to ourselves.
yeah, because we don't have really anything to give, like you're saying. If your cup isn't full, which we all know, but we're not
Yeah,
doing,
yeah,
so
yeah,
get a coach, call Sharon.
absolutely.
I'm going to put all your information with our podcast today. So I just want to thank you so much for joining me and sharing this. It's really, really important, and it's life-changing.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. And it's been really, really lovely getting to chat to you and to discuss this. It's such an important subject that it's been really, really lovely.
And people need to know it. We need to
They
know it.
do.
And there's
They
lots
do.
of people who are still pretending it's not a thing. Energy, what right there,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't think we're going to have a choice soon. I think that it's going to get so intense with stuff that's happening around us that, why not just look into it, check it out, and
Yeah.
find out that, we have this incredible thing going on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? When you write that book and you're doing some big podcast shows, let's chat and share it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Take care.
Look, and you too. Lovely to speak to you. Bye.
You too, Sharon. Bye now.
Bye.